Hey guys, welcome to Two Dudes Talking. I'm DJ. That's Dustin. Welcome back. New episode post Super Bowl. Yeah, let's get right into it. Look, you were telling me how bored you are with the Super Bowl. Defend that position. Why were you bored?
I'll give you that it was a great defensive game and a great game by the Bucks, 100%. But it was not a back and forth game for average Joe fan of the NFL. It was boring. It was a boring one-sided game.
So I typically love Jim Nantz and Tony Romo together. That's their fault. 100% their fault for not pointing out the nuances of the game. And Tony Romo's usually excellent at that. Usually he can say, and he did make a couple calls where like, oh, Pat Mahomes is going to do this. And he did it, right? Look, I think that the CBS's broadcast was super boring. They messed up a few times. Graphics were popping up when they weren't supposed to. James Brown and, Boomer Esiason or Phil Simms, one of those talked out of turn several times. It just
James
looked.
Brown?
Yeah, James Brown is the.
I know. I think of the
same name. But they were out of sync. Look, when it's typically boring, I think that the broadcast booth has a lot to do with that. If they would have pointed out how masterful Todd Bowles was, and honestly, how masterful Bruce Arians was as well. I mean, shit, that game plan that they had on both sides of the ball dominated what seemed to be a very sloppy Kansas City Chiefs team who was missing 2 tackles, 2 offensive linemen. I give you that, but
had to get their haircut.
But they didn't make any adjustments in the half.
None.
And
zero.
I mean, Pat Mahomes could only do so much. And there were guys that dropped balls, right? I mean, Hill dropped the ball, Kelsey dropped the ball.
Face mask.
And Tom Brady efficient as all get out.
Yeah. Look,
and it wasn't even his greatest game.
Completely not even close. Completely handed to the Bucks, their coaching staff and their players free. Nearly perfect game plan, both defensively and offensively. It was a master class of how to beat Mahomes and how to just be like, that's enough. That's cute. But for average Joe fan, they don't want to see that. They want to see a back and forth game, exciting offense on both sides.
Yeah. Well,
that's what should be.
And that's why I feel like Nantz and Romo should have pointed that out a little bit more. Should have done a little bit more John Madden stuff, right? And drawn out why Todd Bowles is
whatever they call it now.
Telestrator. Should have figured out how to make that more engaging, to point that out to the average fan. Because you're right. If you're just watching the game for the game, then it is. And look, everybody was on the Pat Mahomes bandwagon.
Oh, God, yeah.
Everybody was calling Pat Mahomes the baby goat, whatever. Can we kill that? Let's kill the baby goat. There is only one goat, and that's it, and it's Tom Brady. And look, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers also had the better team. So let's say that. Let's say that the Kansas City played very sloppy, did not look like they wanted to be there. Tom Brady told Leonard Fournette, keep running the ball aggressively because they don't want to tackle. And it showed. They didn't want to tackle at all. They didn't want anything to do with Leonard Fournette. So, I mean, it was, like I said, it was a master class in how to play a football game by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I called it. I said 35. They scored 31. I just thought the Kansas City Chiefs were going to be more involved, like they've been there before.
Yeah, I thought it was going to come down to a field goal or something.
Yeah,
towards the end, and it did.
Yeah,
it was over in the first quarter.
Yeah, and you know what? But that was part of the plan, right? Get out in front, have a little bit of a buffer, so things will open up for you. Like I said, masterful.
I will say some of the throws that Mahomes made, like that one where he's parallel to the ground and he still hit the guy in the head. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. But
yeah.
I mean, he was under pressure basically all night is what it felt like. Every play, it was like, wow, he's got to get rid of the ball now. He's going to get crushed.
Yeah. I just like watching all of the prognosticators and everybody trying to defend their position and saying why they selected Pat Mahomes to win and the Chiefs to win. It just, like I said, if you look at what the players were saying, there was a cool graphic that CBS Sports put up of all their players that they asked. And they all picked Tampa Bay. They all said it. Not the guys that work for CBS, just NFL football player. Who do you think is going to win? And they all picked Tampa Bay because one, you don't ever pick against Tom Brady, but two, you never pick against a solid team like that.
He's not undefeated in Super Bowls, first of all, so you can't pick against him. But I was fascinated by the stat that apparently all the points in the game on the Buccaneers side were scored by people that were not on the team last season.
Yeah.
I was like, that is amazing.
I mean, look, he showed that he can be a player, a GM, and a coach.
And a shit talker.
Yeah. And you know what? He was texting the guys every night at 11 o'clock. We will win, right? He was projecting on these guys. He was making them confident. He was doing everything necessary.
Amazing. Look, I have to agree. I didn't agree that he was the GOAT before, but after watching that, he has to be. There can't even be an argument. He's the GOAT quarterback. I mean, the GOAT quarterback. There's a GOAT at every position. He's the quarterback one.
I think he's the GOAT in team sports. I mean, I know you can make the argument for Michael Jordan,
or
but
Bill,
if
Bill Russell.
Look, if Michael Jordan and Bill Russell are sitting at the table, so are Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Tom Brady.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
mean they're all.
I'm not saying he's excluded from the table. I'm just saying
they're all eating steaks. They're all eating.
He's the GOAT of NFL quarterbacks for sure.
Yeah. I mean, but anyway, moving on. UFC talk. Usman Burns.
That's going to be a good fight. I hope. It better be. We need one.
It's going to be a good fight because one, I think the welterweights always deliver. I think it's the punchiest and most violent division.
We just making up words now.
Yeah, but in the UFC, I think it's the most violent and the one that has the potential for highlights every single time.
Those guys are going to exchange, and you could be looking at one punch, somebody's going to eat some canvas, and it's like, holy crap, it's over. And both guys can throw, both guys can kick, both guys can have the endurance to go for days.
Yeah, it's not going to the ground.
No, I don't see that going to the ground unless one of them slips.
Yeah, I mean, neither one of these guys want to fight on the ground. I mean, I can say Usman might attempt to do that early on, but I don't think Burns really wants to go to the ground. I mean, he has a jiu-jitsu background, but he wants to swing and knock the guy out. So I think we're going to see a very violent fight.
Well, the only reason I can see him going to the ground there, though, for Burns is if he knows he's down, he needs to gain some points. He takes him down to try and work from some ground and pound or work a submission for, a couple minutes, both either to recover or just to completely gain the round.
Yeah. I mean, I like I said, I think this is going to be a very punchy fight.
I agree.
Yeah. And, I think this has the makings of an instant classic.
Fight of the year in March, sorry.
God, and I hate doing that because then it builds up expectations and then you get so disappointed in the end.
It'll go to the judges, split decision, basically, is what we're saying.
I don't know. I think someone's going night in round 3. I don't think it gets to championship rounds.
You don't think it's going to the championship rounds?
No. I like Usman in 3. I like Usman by not
punch the crap out of each other. So
yeah, I just like I like Usman TKO in 3.
Just to be different, I'll take 4. I'll take him 4. Although, I mean, again, it's one punch and neither of these guys are going to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not going to be surprised. I mean, last week I said Overeem was I still couldn't commit, but I couldn't commit to Overeem winning. I like something's going to happen to him in round 2. I don't know what will, but it won't either be good or really bad.
Something happened in that fight.
Yeah,
that was. I mean, Volkov, power to him, but Jesus.
No,
domination.
Yeah, we can talk
Volkov
about
was
Reem
the Bucks and Overeem was the Chiefs.
Yeah, Overeem is always kind of underperformed in the UFC. He
great fighter though.
Yeah, great fighter. I always enjoy.
Days were amazing.
Yeah, I enjoy watching him, but
oh god, yeah. If you haven't seen highlights of him kickboxing, go back and watch.
Yeah,
It's just stunning. Some of the crap
50.
he does.
He's 50 pounds too heavy now for my taste.
Well, I mean, okay, even if he had one, do you think he's beating Bazookas or Stipe or Bones if he ever decides to fight again?
No, no, no. Bones is gonna fight, but Bones needs to he needs to feast on the guys at the top. He doesn't have to earn his right up there. He can get like top 2 or 3 like right off
Well,
the
I think
bat.
he has. I think it should be one fight for him before the championship fight, assuming he wins that. Then he fights for the belt. I think he's earned that.
Yeah,
I don't think he's
yeah.
earned the right to come in and go immediately for the belt. I don't think anybody's earned that.
Mm,
So I think he's got to fight a Volkov or Bazookas or whoever the hell is not fighting Stipe, assuming, of course, Stipe is actually going to fight again, win that, and then fight for the belt.
See, I like somebody fighting for the belt, and then that winner gets Bones, or Bones gets the winner of that championship fight. I know you're kind of doing it the other direction. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah,
I think the hype
no.
behind Jones sells more pay-per-views than Jones headlining a pay-per-view not for a belt. That would be my thinking. I'm thinking about the money aspect of
Yeah,
it
I
and the
get that.
hype
But
aspect. So
I think you could do both. You could have Jones headline a pay per view, not for the belt. First, his debut at heavyweight.
right here, that's I think I know where you're going.
Yeah,
You're
want
trying
him to
to
win, and then next fight after the medical suspensions and whatever, boom, Bones for the title.
now see I go championship fight and then that guy fights Bones and then you get it either way is what I'm saying.
Oh
I
yeah,
know
I
you get
agree.
one less with Bones, but
I just
anyway,
think he needs. Yeah, as you know, the heavyweight's different. They have cement mixers for hands. So
yeah. Well, I mean, staying in Jones's old division, however, in the other league, Bellator,
the
they
Grand
announced their
Prix.
World Grand Prix, which actually has some guys that Bones has fought and beat.
Yep.
And look, I have issues with what Rich Chow and the rest of the squad at Bellator put together. I take issue with the April 16th fight, which is Rumble and Romero. Your
I'm
two biggest signings.
Go hit it.
The two biggest signings that you've had, you don't put them together in the first round. You just don't. That's the epitome of stupidity to me. And I don't and look, I don't know the behind the scenes talks that are going on that are happening anymore, but I know from the outside looking in, you should have put Rumble against Corey Anderson and Romero versus whatever this guy's name is, Yagasha Murganov. And then let those guys feast on them, and then let them get together in the second round of this Grand Prix. I mean, Bader Machida, okay.
That's a good fight.
Nemkov Davis, okay.
That's a good fight too.
Like I said, you split the other two guys up so that you can kind of advance them towards the end. But like I said, I don't know what's going on. Is there something else, some other piece of information that we don't know that they needed to put those two guys together? Who
Maybe
knows?
They wanted to fight. Maybe those guys said, "I want to fight that guy."
Yeah. And all I know is Bellator's back on Showtime.
Are they?
Which
I
is
missed that.
yeah. It's back on Showtime.
There you go.
So I'm excited. I mean, look, I like World Grand Prix. I like this tournament style stuff. I think that's the one thing the UFC should have adopted, and they never did.
Back up the UFC truck to UFC like 1.
Well, yes.
I don't know, 20.
Yeah, I'm talking modern era Dana White UFC.
Yeah, well, they did it. It was just all in one night. So
yeah. Okay, let's talk about Stephen A. Smith.
Hey.
We went a couple weeks without talking about him. It's bugging me. It's bugging some UFC fighters. They're tweeting about and talking about it. Look, a guy that boxes like he does, and we've all seen this video of him playing patty cake with a trainer. I mean, look at this. I mean, it's ridiculous, you know. Now, right. And look, we know that a sparring partner, or a partner holding pads can make somebody look amazing, but he doesn't look
Oh,
amazing. He doesn't
God,
look
yeah, they can.
he doesn't look amazing in this footage. He looks like an old man fighting his way through the soup line at soup plantation. I
That's
mean,
so
that's what
mean.
that's what he looks like. He
So
basically
mean.
he basically commented that he doesn't like women's MMA, that it makes him uncomfortable. It was very early Dana White before Ronda Rousey, right? It
You think
sounded
Dana's
very
saying
much like that,
there'll never be women in the UFC?
right? And look,
Oof.
I think that there were a lot of UFC purists who didn't want women's MMA. I think early on, when even Dana was saying it, I think that just the talent wasn't there. You didn't have a lot of women's MMA fighters. They just weren't the stock wasn't there.
You had
Um,
three that you can think of probably at that time. Like three names. I'm not meaning there were just three that were fighting. You have Ronda,
right.
you have Cyborg, you have Cupcake.
That's it, and that's it, right? And you can't build a division, and you can't build women's MMA with just those three names. You still need a few more, and they eventually got there, right?
Yeah,
They eventually got to the
thank
point
God.
where now they have a couple divisions. But for Steven to talk about that now
It's
is
a little late.
I'm just super disappointed that ESPN didn't do anything about it. They should have, like, I don't know, maybe they said something to him.
How about just edit it out? Just
Or not let him. Well, he said it on a podcast or something.
still edit it out. Make it
Um,
hard. Cut,
I don't know if
cut,
it was
and we're
his
moving on.
podcast. That's what I'm saying is, I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, I don't know where he said or how he said it. Just what shouldn't have been said out loud. He shouldn't have made that. That's not something you say when you know there's a microphone in your face. And
People
I
don't
think I.
dumb shit on live mics.
But that guy says a lot of dumb shit. I think
Yeah.
he's. Look. I'm not a big fan of his, and I just think he puts his foot in his mouth multiple times. And I could do without him on ESPN. I could do without. I think that he needs to go the way of Jim Rome and just kind of go away. You know,
I like Jim Rome back in the day, and then obviously he went completely
crazy.
sideways, and then
Yeah,
not so much.
yeah. But that's that. Let's move on to MLB.
Yeah. So as if you haven't heard, MLB is changing the baseballs. They've announced they're going to loosen it or whatever the hell it is, and according to I don't want to say MLB, but somebody that it's going to add what a couple feet or something or inches to every ballpark just because the ball's not going to fly as far. So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
there'll be less home runs, but
2 to 3 feet, basically.
yeah, there you go, 2 to 3 feet. Given the average distance of most of these home runs, they're not what I call wall scrapers. So I'm not really sure that helps, but maybe we can stop hearing about launch angle and all that crap, and people will start playing small ball and actually moving runners over and bunting and stealing bases again. It'd be lovely.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like it's a problem that didn't need to be solved for.
Well,
I
look,
MLB has other issues and other rules issues they can solve for, and they don't have to, like, go after baseballs.
well, they're always changing the baseball. It's changed over the history. Look at a ball from Babe Ruth to when,
Well, right.
now it's completely different. Like if Babe Ruth played now, he
Yeah.
did about 9,000 home runs a year, probably.
But did anybody really ask for this? I mean, was this really a thing that needed to be addressed?
No, I think they're probably trying to change the home run rate, but at the same time, they needed to change the strikeout rate. The strikeout rate is ridiculous. You're basically getting a strikeout, a walk, or a home run in at bats. You're not really getting singles, doubles, triples, or just hard anyway. So are all the players now going to shift and be like, oh shit, we have to learn how to hit the ball, like go the other way and bunt and run and all that crap? Or are they just gonna be like, oh, we just have to swing harder?
So maybe this was just an easy fix to try to get them to play small ball, because obviously the players and league can't agree on rule changes and updates. Um, and maybe the ball is the one thing that they can't affect. And they're like, oh, we can change the ball and not have to get the players' input on this.
I hear an Incredible doesn't fly that far. They could use that. I don't even know if they still make those. Remember those like rubber balls you could bounce them off of stuff and it wouldn't break most things?
Yeah,
Why don't they just use those? Be done.
I don't know. It seems like a super lame solution to a problem.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing they did was they're keeping the 7 inning doubleheaders again for this season, which I like. I didn't think I would. And for extra innings, they're keeping with the putting a runner on second to start the inning, which I thought I wouldn't like, but I actually really did. And they are not keeping the DH in the NL, which thank God. I think that'll be happening after they go on strike after this season and they come up with a new CBA.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. That should be fun if they can get started on time, given that, the NBA, college basketball, and really college basketball and hockey have been ravaged by COVID.
Yeah.
Player gonna player.
Yes, they are. Right. One last thing. I mean, I feel like sports is fucking this COVID thing up. Like sports all the way across the board. From the Super Bowl and the NFL experience that I saw on TV, where people were practically on top of each other, to the Waste Management Open in Phoenix, where people were on top of each other. And I'm like, and it's funny. It's like you get the announcer on CBS or whatever, wherever that played, and it was like, oh, we're socially distancing here in Phoenix. And I'm like, no, you're not. Look at that crowd of 200 people all up on top of each other. I just think that sports has really figured out a way to not help in this pandemic.
Well, look, for the Super Bowl specifically, I know that a bunch of the people, I don't want to say all because I don't know where they were all sitting, if they were all together or separated, but, it's what, 7,500 vaccinated healthcare workers were at the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that, what was it, one of the end zones? I don't remember
No.
which one, where it looked like it was super crowded. I'm hoping that's who that was.
No, which is complete bullshit, because I saw Maria Fozzi, who is a LPGA player. She was Instagramming that she was there because she was a guest of Martin Gramatica, who is the former kicker for the Bucks. And she's like, "Thank you for making us Bucks fans." And it's like her and her friends at the Super Bowl. So don't get it twisted. There were more than just healthcare workers there. It's bullshit.
Oh, yeah. They said 22,000 fans. 7,500 or thereabout were healthcare workers. Personally, it should have been all healthcare workers, but whatever.
Well, they wanted to promote that part of it, make it seem like, look at us, look at the great things that we're doing. But that wasn't the case. Anyway, that's that's all I got, man. COVID's wearing me out.
Yeah, I agree with you. Eventually, we're going to do this in person.
Eventually,
2023.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe not, and we'll just stay in our bunkers. But anyway, I'm DJ. That's Dustin. Let us know what you think. Comment now. Follow, like, share, whatever. Peace. We out.